The DJI Mini 3 has been out for over a month now. And in this video, I'm going to give you not 5, 8 or 10 reasons why you shouldn't buy it over the Pro, but 12 reasons. And why the DJI Mini 3 Pro is still by far the better investment and the one that you should genuinely consider. Regardless of what option you go between the Mini 3 and the Mini 3 Pro, the difference is around $250 give and take. When you're deciding to buy a drone, whether it is the Mini 3 or the Mini 3 Pro, rather than focusing on what both drones do, which, okay, yes, you should pay close attention to what one drone cannot do that the other one does, and why there is a difference in price. And then decide whether you want to go for the cheaper option after all. My only interest is to put out honest reviews so that you can then make a decision with the right information on hand. The most important thing that you need to understand is this drone has obstacle avoidance sensors. It has front, back, and bottom or downwards, okay? This is really, really important. The Mini 3 don't have any of those, okay? They have very basic downward sensors, but mostly it's for landing. Only on the obstacle avoidance sensors, I would say that the Mini 3 Pro is worth investment, okay? I don't need to go through the other 11 points to realize how much better this drone is over the DJI Mini 3. The beauty of having obstacle avoidance sensors is that you can set the drone to either stop or bypass an obstacle, okay? And that's gonna give you a lot of flexibility. And on top of that, you get advanced tracking features which you don't have from the Mini 3. And this leads me to my next point. In the Mini 3 Pro, you don't have master shots and you don't have active tracking, okay? And this is gonna clip your creativity big time. Now, will those ever make it onto the Mini 3? Impossible. They never will. And the reason is not to do with any firmware upgrade, is because the Mini 3 doesn't have obstacle avoidance sensors. And to do those advanced tracking shots, you need those sensors to be there. So to start with, no active track of any kind, no point of interest, no spotlight, and no active track. No parallel tracking, no forward or backwards tracking, not rotating around, none of that you are gonna have on the Mini 3. That alone, to me, when I know that there is a drone that costs $250 more, would be a reason not to consider the Mini 3. But there is also another reason. There is so many reasons. There is no master shots either. So the Mini 3 Pro has this feature where you can select a range of shots. So the drone itself does all the shots automatically, and then it pieces it together in an edit that you can then upload to your social media or YouTube or whatever. Especially if you're starting flying a drone and you don't have the confidence to do all the moves manually yourself. You can just press this template, the drone does it for you, off you go, done, you got it in the can. So that feature is amazing, and you don't get it in the Mini 3. Now you might say, well, you know, I can probably live with doing everything manually. And yes, you should learn how to fly your drone manually, and you should try a lot of the times to do it manually because it gives you a lot of flexibility and you can do things very quickly. Now, there are many times where you genuinely want to use, for instance, point of interest or spotlight. You may be in a very cold weather, okay? And your hands are going to be freezing and you don't want to be holding the RC controller and then your hands shaking because it's freezing cold. Trust me, it happens. Your fingers will get cold and you will lose touch and you will lose sensitivity. So a lot of the times what I do, I just use spotlight or point of interest and I draw a box in the screen and I just use my thumb to either go left or right. And the beauty of a spotlight is that you can choose to go forwards, backwards, left and right, and the drone will also handle the gimbal and everything will be flawless. You cannot tell the difference, and if anything, they actually look better than when you do it manually, because sometimes flying your drone manually means that you need to keep the pressure to keep on that motion for maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds, even a minute, depending on how long you want that shot to be. You might need to be applying very subtle pressure on the sticks. And it's really difficult sometimes to keep your fingers applying the same pressure. Whereas if you're using any of the tracking features like the point of interest or spotlight, you just have to worry about going right or left on your thumb. And that's a lot easier. Having these features is going to give you a lot of flexibility in your creativity because you can adapt to whatever circumstance you have around you. Another thing that you don't get in the Mini 3 is hyperlapses. Now, this is not something that everybody uses, But this is a really cool effect. If you do anything that is narrative, if you do any type of video where you want to show a transition of time, you can do a hyperlapse. You can move along a distance, you can set waypoints for the drone to go from point A to point B, and the drone will do it really nice, really smooth, and it's gonna give you a lot of creative options. That's another feature that you will never have in the Mini 3, no matter how many firmware upgrades they do in the future, simply because the sensors are not there. If up to this point I haven't yet made the case that the Mini 3 is not worth investment, this is where things start to get even more interesting. Because with the DJI Mini 3, you are capped at 4K 30 frames per second normal color space, which is 8-bit. That's what you can do, and that's probably what you are ever going to do, because DJI is not going to harm the sales of the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Having the ability to shoot 4K at 60 frames per second is going to give you a lot of flexibility when it comes down to slowing the footage down. And you can then even slow it furthermore in post, and you still have the 4K resolution. With the Mini 3, you capped at 30 frames per second, and that's that, so that is a big difference. Now, saying all of that, you can do 60 frames per second if you drop the resolution down to 2.7K. But this is an odd resolution that I have personally never used, and you're gonna notice a difference in quality regardless, okay? So you want to shoot at 4K. That's the industry standard now. This is what's gonna give you the best quality, and this is what's gonna future-proof whatever it is that you do. The DJI Mini 3 Pro gives you 4K up to 60 frames per second, 10-bit on the D-Cine color space, which is a flatter color space that gives you a lot more dynamic range. And having 10-bit color space over 8-bit gives you much cleaner images. And the quality of the footage, when you compare 8-bit to 10-bit, it's massive. It really is huge. And the color space, normal color space, you get a lot of saturation, a lot of contrast baked into the footage, into the signal. You're gonna have to be fighting that when it comes to grading your footage and try and make it look nice. Because the difference with the Mini 3 Pro is that you're gonna get a 10-bit in a flat color space. It's gonna be a lot easier to grade. And if grading is something that you feel a little bit apprehensive about, I have a set of LUTs for the DJI Mini on the D-Cine color space that I leave a link in the description. Trust me, they're well worth the money. It's about 160 looks, and all you need to do is drag and drop and you'll be done. Your footage will look absolutely amazing. But grading from the normal color space, it's a real pain. Now, can you get decent looking footage? Yes, you can, but it's never gonna look as nice as the footage that comes out of the DJI Mini 3 Pro. The Mini 3 caps at 3200 ISO. The Mini 3 Pro, you can push it up to 6400 ISO. And this is especially useful if you are in low light situations. In an ideal world, you wouldn't want to go over 400 or 800 ISO, okay? Because after that, you're gonna start introducing noise into your footage. But there might be a situation where you need to go up to 6400, and then you're gonna have to apply noise reduction in post. This is very processor intensive, and that clip or those clips that you need to do noise reduction, they're gonna take a lot of time to render, but you will be able to recover a lot of detail and your footage will look decent. Having the ability to push the ISO by pretty much double, it's a big plus on the Pro. In the Mini 3, you are locked to MP4 and H.264. That's it, nothing else. Take it or leave it, there is no way around it, okay? On the Mini 3 Pro, you get the option to choose between MOV or MP4 and between H.265 and H.264. And having the ability to choose the recording format and the codec gives you a lot of options, because you can make that decision yourself. Whereas with the Mini 3, you are locked to whatever DJI gives you, and that's it. So that's another reason why the Mini 3 Pro is a far superior drone. Now, if you are into photography, this is a really massive difference in quality, okay? Because on the Mini 3 Pro, you get up to 48 megabyte RAW. In the Mini 3, you get 12 megabyte RAW. If you take a photo on both drones, okay, and you put them side by side at 1:1, they both look very similar, okay? They look really, really nice. Now, the difference is if you need to reframe your shot because maybe the angle is not right. And that's where the massive difference in resolution becomes obvious. And if you choose 4:3 as your aspect ratio, the Mini 3 Pro will give you an image that is double the size than the Mini 3. So think about how much flexibility you have in post when you have an image that is twice the size and double the resolution. It's mad, it's insane. It doesn't really make sense to spend your hard-earned money on a drone that clearly is much lower quality than the Pro, and for such a small difference in money, really. I mean, we're not talking about $600 or $800 or $1,000. We're talking about $250, give and take. Because when you divide that over 12 months or 24 months, it's really peanuts. So let's say that you want to create screen recording of your controller, okay? You buy the RC controller and then you find out that the resolution that you can record with the Mini 3, it's 720p compared to 1080p on the Mini 3 Pro. Now, 1080p is not near as sharp as 4K, but believe me, it's a much better resolution than 720p. At 720p, your footage is gonna look the way a 720p footage looks. It's not gonna look great. 1080p doesn't look great either, but it's definitely better by far than 720. So this is another reason that even on an RC controller, you're gonna notice the difference between going for a Mini 3 or a Mini 3 Pro. The Mini 3 has a better battery life, okay? And they are selling it to you like this is something incredible that you should really put a lot of value and worth in it, okay? And I am telling you that this is absolute bollocks, okay? Because look, with the Mini 3 Pro, you're gonna get anywhere between 22 to 25, 27 minutes per battery, okay? It depends a lot on the temperature around you, on the fly mode that you use, whether it is cinematic, sports, or normal. There are many variables that will dictate how long your battery lasts, okay? Whether it's a very windy day, whether there is no wind. Now, the Mini 3 claims that in a lab condition has maybe 2 or 3 more minutes of battery life. You are never gonna really experience that difference, okay? You are never gonna notice it. And the reason why is because when you fly your drone, okay, it's not like you go 27 minutes of battery and you're gonna be flying 27 minutes and then come the 27 minutes, the battery ends and guess what? The drone doesn't just materialize on your hands or on the ground. It's still up in the air, and if you fly right up to 27, 28 or 29 minutes, guess what's gonna happen? That thing is gonna drop like a stone and the drone is gone. So you are most likely gonna be returning to home when the battery life is around 4 to 6 minutes left, okay? 7 minutes sometimes. And that also depends on how close or how far the drone is, and also how easy it is to maneuver. Because if you are in the countryside in a open field, it's very easy to return to home. It's basically a straight line, But if you are in an urban area, in a heavily, densely populated area where there might be buildings or things that you need to be mindful, it's a lot trickier and you need to pay more attention. So you don't want to be running the battery right up to the limit, because trust me, you're gonna lose the drone. Having an extra bit of battery life, hey, it's welcome. If I can get an extra 2 minutes or 3 minutes on my battery, phenomenal, But it's not something that would make me think, yeah, I will buy the Mini 3 over the Mini 3 Pro because I get 3 more minutes battery life. That's an idiotic argument. Look, the Mini 3, it's a drone, okay? You ask the RC controller to take off and it will take off and fly. You can then create really decent footage and you can fly like every other drone, okay? And providing that you fly responsibly and you don't do anything stupid, more often than not, you are not gonna have any accidents. You need to decide, is the Mini 3 Pro an investment worth making for you? Because in my opinion, if you don't have the money for the Mini 3 Pro, wait, save up, I don't know, do whatever, just wait until you can afford those $250 extra, okay? Because it's gonna make a huge difference in terms of not just image quality, but longevity, okay? This is a drone that is gonna stay relevant 2 or 3 years from now. The Mini 3 is a drone that is relevant. It's not even relevant today. The Mini 3 is a glorified version of the Mini 2, period. That's it. You buying 2-year-old or 3-year-old technology. I can tell you right now, this drone blows the Mini 3 out of the water in every sense. And only on the obstacle avoidance sensors and the tracking features, to me, it justifies buying the Mini 3 Pro over the Mini 3 in every possible sense. Regardless of what I or anybody says, you need to look at all of these things. You need to look at what the drone does, what the drone doesn't do, and then make a decision. And hopefully you find something useful in this video and you thought, you know what, this guy deserves a like on the video and deserves my subscription because he's right on the money. Of course I'm right in the money. Come on, I've been doing this for 20 years. And if you're wondering how good this drone really is, I've got these 2 videos where I give you everything that you need to get the best footage out of this drone. So click on any of them and I'll see you there.